Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I come to the floor today as the Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, leaves the floor because I saw some very interesting new polling this week about the Schumer shutdown of our government. It actually came, of all places, from CNN, not exactly a Republican-friendly outlet. But let me share what the poll shows. Since the Schumer shutdown began, approval of Republicans in Congress is up 5%. By contrast, Democrats are now at their weakest and lowest position in 20 years. The American people are clearly paying attention to the damage being wrought on the American people by the Democrats. And the American people are sick and tired of the Democrats' dangerous political games. They resent being used by Democrats as pawns, as leverage. They resent being treated as pieces on a chessboard. Millions resent having their paychecks held back. Now it's been a full month, Mr. President. Americans know who's to blame for the Schumer shutdown. They heard the Democrats loud and clear. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, a Democrat from Rhode Island, just this Tuesday called the shutdown, he said, the only lever we have. People are suffering. To him, it's a lever. Senator Chris Coons of Delaware said almost the exact same thing last week to a national television audience. He said, quote, frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. He even admitted shutdowns are a, quote, as he said, an unpleasant tool. Then he voted for the 13th time yesterday to use the tool to keep the government closed. Well, food pantries in Senator Whitehouse's home state of Rhode Island are getting slammed. Democrats call that leverage. Families in Delaware are making, quote, backup plans, according to the news, just to get groceries. Democrats call that leverage. It's not leverage. It's picking pain for people for political purposes. It is a hunger to use it as a bargaining chip. Democrats refer it as unpleasantness. We're now 30 days into the Schumer shutdown. It's the longest full shutdown in the history of this country. For 30 days, Democrats have chosen leverage over lives. They've chosen politics over paychecks. And they would rather fight President Trump than feed American families. This weekend, 42 million Americans will lose food assistance. Say that again, 42 million Americans. It's 1 in 8. Twice as many Americans are on the failed Obamacare exchanges that the Minority Leader was just talking about, which Democrats are still trying to prop up, even though it has failed on its promises to control costs. And as a headline in the New York Times on Sunday said, Obamacare is pricey. Democrats are putting free health care for illegal immigrants ahead of American families, ahead of American seniors, ahead of American veterans, ahead of American soldiers, ahead of American workers. That's their priority, free health care for illegal immigrants. We have citizens in this country, real people in real pain, and they count on food assistance to put food on the table. Now these families are living in limbo, and their balance is about to hit zero. So what happens to them next week if the Democrats keep the government shut down as they voted 13 times to do so? And what about the week after that? Families will go hungry because Democrats keep playing this dangerous political game. Now, even some Democrats are calling on the Democrat Party to change course. Listen to the words of Senator Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada. She said, she was interviewed actually yesterday on CNN, and I'll quote, I don't think federal workers should be political pawns. She said, I don't think we should swap the pain of some Americans for others. I think we should be lifting all of them up and helping them. Senator Cortez Masto is one of the few reasonable Democrats who has been voting for a clean, continuing resolution to reopen the government. Here's the simple truth. Senate Republicans have voted 13 times on a clean, bipartisan, continuing resolution to reopen the government. That's 13 votes for funding food assistance, for paying the troops, for paying the federal workers, for paying TSA agents, for paying air traffic controllers, for paying Border Patrol, for paying Capitol Police, who are here and have been working for the last month without pay. Every single time, Senator Schumer and the radical Democrats have voted no, voted 13 times against funding food assistance, against paying for our troops, against paying federal workers, against paying TSA, against paying air traffic controllers, against paying Border Patrol, and against paying the Capitol Police. And Democrats stand here and claim President Trump can fund food assistance on his own. They know what they're asking him to do is against the law. Democrats are not, in the words of Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon, powerless to fund that program, $9 billion a month. Democrats had the power 13 times to end the shutdown. They voted no 13 times. The Democrats are the ones that have the power. They're not powerless. They're unwilling to help American families. The Senate should be funding those programs today. We tried again yesterday. It failed. The clean bipartisan continuing resolution that's sitting right there on that desk right now could be passed if we get Democrats to vote for it. It funds SNAP, it pays our federal workers, it pays our troops, it pays TSA agents, it pays air traffic controllers, it pays Border Patrol agents, it pays Capitol Police. It reopens the government, which is what we ought to be doing. We need 5 more Democrats to say yes. The most ironic thing about this, the hypocrisy of it all, Mr. President, is that Democrats had no problem voting for a clean bipartisan continuing resolution 13 times when Joe Biden was president. What's changed? Well, Donald Trump is in the White House, and they're not happy about that, and they're not happy about anybody that voted for him. So now they're more interested in what they describe as leverage than children going hungry in this country. It's no wonder Republicans' approval rating has gone up, as the CNN poll shows, and that Democrat polling has gone down during the Schumer shutdown to the lowest and weakest point in 20 years. Enough with the politics of pain, Mr. President. It's time to reopen the government, and it's time to feed these vulnerable families. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.